We welcome you once again to this channel. This is Time with the Diplomat. We know you have missed us. We have also missed you. Yes, we have dearly missed you. And we thank God for keeping us alive upon all these troubles that happened in 2020. We are still alive. We glorify His name for that. The fact that we are alive reminds us that there's a lot to achieve. So don't give up. Follow us as we are trying to teach you what God has imparted us. Today our message is very simple. I know 2020 has not been a good year, though I beg to differ. But it is true that it has not been a good year, because it is a year that has caused great mess. A year that has disoriented a lot of people. But I want you to understand that anytime there is a challenge, you should know that better days are ahead. That is what Psalms understood and said, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. The coming year is full of blessing. Don't allow the bad things, the bad incidents in 2020 facade you from the good things that 2021 brings. But before you can enjoy the blessings 2021 brings, you must understand the rules of engagement. That is what I am coming to teach you today. I know you'll be happy as I lead you to discover what 2021 brings. First of all, I want you to know that your future is secured. And since your future is secured, you should be happy about that, because your future is more important than your past. When God created man, He provided everything that we need to succeed, because none of the creations carry the image of God except man. We carry the image of God. And God is a successful man. So He wants us to also be successful. Because of that, He has tied our success to His success. So our failure will be a bad disadvertisement to Him. And God will not allow us to fail. We will succeed no matter what we go through. Success is ours. He has already provided for us. Whatever that we need to succeed is history to God. But the problem is we don't have eye to see what God has provided. That is what we are trying to do. So now, to simplify the whole thing, this year, that is 2020, is almost ending. And I know a lot of people are going to do a lot of programs. And some of the programs will be crossover, pass over, run over, jump over, and a lot of the overs you can think of. But I want you to understand it's not about the overs. That is rituals. And rituals do not yield results. That is why you have been through all these overs, but still you are not progressing. One thing that you should know is that the coming year is about knowing the code of your success, of your inheritance. God has placed password. He has placed code on your inheritance. He has already provided everything, but He has coded it. He has encoded your inheritance, and you need to access it through the code that He provides. And how to get the code is a problem. When I say God has provided everything, people are surprised. Let me show you from the scriptures. Paul understood what I have understood today, and he documented it on records. That is Ephesians chapter 3, verse 1 to 5. If you read it, Paul says, God has blessed us with all spiritual blessings in the heavenly places. That is everything that we need to succeed. God has already provided for us. But that things are in the realms of the spirit. You need to access it. There's a code on it. If you don't get the code, there is no way you get that inheritance. So this year ending and the year that you're about to start, it is about learning how to decode the code on your inheritance. Say after me. Learning how to decode the code on your inheritance. If you don't learn how to decode the code on your inheritance, there is no way you are going to enjoy the coming year. So it is about learning all the technicalities and the legalities in order to assess your inheritance. Let me take your mind back to something that will just enlighten you small. You see, when God created first man, which we all know to be Adam, he gave everything to him in the Garden of Eden. But immediately Adam sinned, God banished Adam from the Garden of Eden. In other words, God prevented him from having access to the things that he has provided for him. And he commanded one of the cherubims to place sword in the entrance of the Garden of Eden, so that Adam will not have access to the good things God has provided for him. That is the code that God placed in the heaven realm, the heaven realms. That is, if you don't learn how to decode it, you can never experience life to the fullest. This stands to reason as a logician that everything Adam needed was in Garden of Eden. But immediately he disobeyed God, God placed code, password to the entrance of the garden. And ever since, man has been suffering because we don't know the code. That is why God has just given this platform. That is why God has established this platform, that we should teach you how to access your inheritance by giving you the codes. The code has been given to us, the password, we can unlock it. So we are coming to teach you how to access your inheritance. So it is not about the rituals, that is crossover, Passover, and those overs. It is about learning how to access your inheritance by learning the keys, the codes, the passwords. And let me brief you something, or let me give you a scenario for you to understand. You see, when Israelites, or the people of Israel, when they were in Egypt, and their time was due for God to bring them to the promised land, when they were coming, they came to meet the sea. And you know God, he could have crossed them over the sea, but God never did that. He told Moses that, Moses, there is a code, there is a password, there is a gate, there is a door in the sea. You need to access it by the code that I will give it to you. I have placed password on it. So if I give you the code and you plug in, you see that the sea will be parted. And immediately Moses got the password, the sea parted. God didn't cross them over. He opened the sea for them to pass through. That is, God doesn't want you to cross over anything. He wants you to get access to your inheritance by learning the codes, because he has encoded everything that he has ordained for you. And nobody can take it because there's a password on it and your name is written on it. So when you learn the codes, that is when you will have access to your inheritance. You have access to good life. You have access to everything God has ordained for you. So don't be deceived by crossing over, by passing over, by doing all the overs. It's about learning the codes. So as you are partnering us on this channel, we are going to give you all the codes so that you have access to your inheritance. I know you are following. I will pause here and ask you to share this video, like it, bring your comments. Let us address anything that is bothering you. If you find yourself in a state of perplexity, don't worry. Bring anything that is worrying you, we will address it. Let others also know the move that God is doing. This year is the year of learning out the code to our inheritance. Because, like I said, God has placed codes, password on our inheritance. Unless we learn how to use the code to open it, we learn how to use the lock to unlock the lock God has placed on our inheritance, you will never have fullness of life. I know you are enjoying the show. I will see you on the next show. Shalom.